You read the title? Let's get into it. You feel lost because your desires aren't your own. You've set goals that you don't hit. You do things that you don't feel are aligned. You're doing the things that gurus and people ahead of you on the internet told you to do in terms of your health, your relationships, your money, but something does not feel correct. You feel either fake or you feel totally lost without clarity of what to do with your life. There's a reason for this. So I'm going to explain to you, and then we're going to fix it. So at one point in my life, I was in what I would consider a cult. Now, it wasn't no weird, freaky sex cult stuff, some like mad Satanism crap. Like it wasn't that sort of thing. There's actually a lot of people who are in cults and don't realize they're in cults. A cult occurs when you almost deify a particular individual. You think they're so much bigger than you. They're smarter and richer and better looking. The people in the cult kind of deify this person ultimately. And what happens is you deal with a phenomena called mimetic desire. So you get into this group, or in my case, you get into a group organization, a group of people, a cult, who are there because of qualities they admire in somebody else. The thing is, since you admire those qualities in that person, you start wanting to think exactly how that person thinks. And this happens on the internet constantly. If you watch content and you watch people on the internet and whatnot, I'm even guilty of this. I've done this. Everyone is copying everyone else. Everyone is copying Alex Hormozy, or everyone's copying Neuro Knowledge, or everyone's copying Dan Coe, or copying Stephen Bartlett, right? Everyone's copying the people who they deem as like a big deal when it's not really who they are. Why this happens and why it happened in a cult setting for me is that it has to do with the seventh hermetic principle of the universe, gender. You have masculine energy and feminine energy in the universe. Masculine is a projective energy. Speaking is masculine. Feminine energy is a receiving energy. Listening is feminine. So what happens if you don't have a strong enough sense of self and know who you are and what you're willing and not willing to do, and have a clear path, purpose, mission, and vision of what you want your life to be? You will inject the values and the ideas and the purpose of somebody else who has a stronger masculine projection than you. When I say masculine projection, it doesn't have anything to do with being a man or a woman, because women have masculine projections as well. There's a whole bunch of people out there right now who want, let's say, Layla Hormozy's life, because she's projected things into the world about her life and a lifestyle and things that people find amazing and they want them, right? But she has strong enough conviction in herself that when she says something, she takes her thoughts and puts them in somebody else's head. And then that person thinks that's how they're supposed to live their life. It's similar to a cuckoo bird, I believe it's called. The cuckoo bird is what it's called, right? That bird lays its eggs in another bird's nest. And then the other bird takes care of those eggs, right? So if you don't have a strong sense of self, other people will tell you what to do with your life. And in cults, this happens to the maximum degree because you have this social contagion effect that makes everybody start thinking the same until people start waking up. All right? All cults fail because people start waking up. Cults can last for a while, but they eventually all fall apart because people start realizing they do not think the same things as this cult leader. They don't think the same things. You start waking up to all the content and all the people that you're watching online, and you realize, I don't actually care about that. I actually don't want to do that. What happens is you build enough resentment. You build resentment towards the situation, or a literal resentment towards the people you learn things from. And enough resentment within you forces you to change. It's like when you're in a bad relationship and this person is terrible and abusive to you and puts you down constantly and all this type of stuff. What happens is that you build enough resentment to leave. Not until you've bolstered up that resentment do you actually exit the situation. So people leave cults because they realize this is BS. Also, they leave because they pedestalize the leader, or you pedestalize somebody else, right, who has injected their values into you. And they eventually start to come off of the pedestal, and you start to realize they're not as big and grandiose as you think they are. You realize they're as human as you and do the same things you do. They might just do certain things to a bigger scale, or they might have more money so they can carry out what you do, what you would do on a larger frontier, essentially. But they have similar qualities to you, and you start to realize that they're normal. You start to realize they're a human being. They're not a god. They're not better than you. They're not more capable than you. They're not all these things. And you start to wake up. Now, I say this in the cult setting because I was in one. But like I said before, you are doing this with other people in your life, especially with people on the internet. So how do you escape this? You escape this by strengthening your sense of self. And when you strengthen your sense of self, you will stop becoming lost. And when you strengthen your sense of self, you will become more authentic. And when you become more authentic, you live a far more fulfilling life. And you draw people to you who assist you on your purpose, mission, and vision instead of somebody else's. So in order to build a stronger sense of self, you need to know what you value. I have a tool to help you do it. It's called the Value Finder. Link is in the description below for that, and it's free. Take your time to do it. Do it on a laptop or a computer. It works better that way, but you can do it on a phone, but I suggest a laptop or a computer. Go through that process. And here's the thing. When you're finding what you value, you need to look at what your life demonstrates. Your values are not necessarily what you want them to be. What you want your values to be are projected from other people. Oh, I want to value business, and I want to value relationships, and I want to value family. Your life may demonstrate that you don't care about that stuff. It's based upon what your life demonstrates, not what you would like it to be. What you would like it to be is actually the projected values of other people. So in my case, over the last couple months, my values have changed because my wife was pregnant, we had a baby, etc. So I valued family a lot more. Family used to be very low on my values. Oh, he's a terrible person. He doesn't value family. No, I just didn't value family as much. That is what it is. Other people will try to shame you for what you value and call you shallow. I know women who value beauty, okay? And that's what they do. They want to look as good as they can. And what do? They're makeup influencers and beauty influencers. Oh, beauty, that's so shallow. Shut up. People value what they value. and stop shaming them for it. There's people who value sex. Oh my gosh, yo, they value sex. This is terrible. They value sex and they get into sex work. Oh, yeah, that's terrible and bad for society. Stop judging these people, okay? Because what you judge in others, you are just trying to oppress within yourself. Sorry, suppress within yourself. Actually, sorry, oppression was the right word. Oppression is done on purpose. Suppression is done without knowing. Okay. But yeah. So you discover what you value. In my case, right now, it's family, business, teaching, and wealth creation. It never used to be like that. It used to be business. It's always my top value. Relationships, teaching. Okay. Now it's not. It's changed. And my life demonstrates that. What did I spend the most time doing over the last 9 months? Well, 11 months now. Taking care of my wife, making sure she was good, making sure the family was good. Now we have the baby, taking care of the baby, making sure the baby's good. That's all family. But then what else does my life demonstrate I do? What do I spend my time doing? Business. I'm in Telegram all the time, conducting business. I work on businesses. I help other people with their businesses. I'm always doing something business related, getting the paper. But then I'm teaching, constantly teaching. I come on YouTube. What do? I teach. I love to teach. I have made the most significant amounts of money through teaching. I have a very vast story, guys. Okay. So I made significant amounts of money in the adult entertainment space, the OnlyFans business as a talent manager. Made tons of money there. And then I made tons of money teaching other people how to do it. So I taught and made a bunch of money. Flipped the skills I learned from there to help other people with their businesses. I've talked about this at length on my channel, but I took the skills I learned from the OnlyFans business. It was a content creation business, essentially, and you monetize on the back end with subscription and other stuff. But I took what I learned from there and I realized business is pretty much the same across many vectors. The only things that change are the product, the person you sell it to, and how it's messaged. I took what I learned, taught other people how to earn money in their businesses, and built my next realm program, which is far more aligned with my values. Okay? So teaching is how I've actually made the most significant amounts of money. And then wealth creation. So saving, investing, making money work for you. Those are my values. Some people might try and shame me for my values. Okay, there's some person who values business to the maximum extent and they won't have kids because they value business so much that the kids are going to get in the way of the business and family's going to get in the way of the business. So screw them and we're going to get the maximum levels of rich. These people should not feel it. You should not shame these people. Okay, they're just doing what they value. I remember seeing on the Diary of a CEO, he was interviewing Mr. Beast, and Mr. Beast was like, if I cared more about my mental health, I wouldn't be as successful as I am. And all the comments are like, oh my gosh, this is not how life is supposed to be. Family's important and, your mental health is important. And they're projecting all their values onto Mr. Beast. What they don't realize is that Mr. Beast just values YouTube and business and doing what he does to the maximum levels. He's living in his values. That's why he's so successful. So there was a lot of talk to tell you if you want to have a strong sense of self, you need to know what you value. What else was I going to talk about? Oh, yeah. I did speak about how eventually those you pedestalize, you will depedestalize eventually. If you don't depedestalize them, you're doomed. I'm sorry to tell you, you'll be totally doomed. You will walk through the world lost. You will let them tell you what to do for the rest of your life. This is how you get the Jim Jones effect, where he had a cult in Guyana and everybody drank the Kool-Aid and died because they didn't wake up and realize he was a normal man that learned how to influence people. So it's very important that you wake up when you are pedestalizing people. The Bible, I think, has over 200 verses about idol worship. And it's not about statues and little statue gods. It's about people. Don't make idols of people, because it will ruin your life. Finally, it will really help you to get a way clearer indication of what you value when you get some money. I think everybody should have the privilege of getting some paper so they can really know what they care about, because getting money will amplify who you are and you'll be able to see it directly 4K display. You'll be able to know what you care about when you get some money. When I say I think everyone should get the privilege of having some money, I don't mean that they should just be given money for free. The universe doesn't work like that. That system never works, because it goes against the laws of the universe and the way we as people neurologically and biologically are built. But that's a different conversation. Put in some work, build a business, get some money so you can actually have clarity in your life on what you care about. Because when I started getting some money, it opens up options to you, and you can say yes to things you want to say yes to and no to things you don't want to do. So please, for the life of you, if you haven't gotten some significant money in your life, get some money. That might sound like just like a very shallow thing to say, but it's true. You got to get some money. You got to figure out how to get some money. If you want some help doing that, I can help you in my next round program. But ultimately, get some paper, please, because I actually make this process easier. When you start getting some money and you can say no to things, you start realizing, why would I do that? Because this person just said to do it and they're successful. I don't have to do that. I don't want to do that. I don't value doing that. The problem is, too, especially with mimetic desire, you start thinking people are experts on things they have no expertise around. So you start thinking because someone is rich, they can tell you about health. You start thinking because someone is rich, they can tell you about successful relationships. Like, probably not. You start thinking because somebody has like a hot girlfriend that they can tell you about business. Like, it doesn't make sense, you know? But this happens with mimetic desire because you pedestalize these people so much. So your desires don't become your own. Your desires become their desires. And I don't want that to happen to you. I want you to have some clarity about your life. So you got to get some money. All right. With that being said, I'm in the pajamas because it's like last time. I was going to bed. I was thinking to go to bed, and then this idea hit me, and I'm like, I got to do it now before it leaves me. So I'm going to, am I going to sleep? I might just edit this and schedule it to upload. Anyways, I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.